Hello everybody, welcome to another edition of our Community Access. Well, it's spring, finally, and it's time for the monarch butterflies to come home to Oxford. All today at our Community Access. Welcome back. The Oxford Clear Lake students planted a Pollinator Garden on the Pollinator Trail to help the monarchs come back to Oxford. With the story is our reporter, Rachel Baker. Rachel?
Hi Bill, this is Rachel Baker. We're on the Pollinator Trail. We're going to have some kids come down today and plant some wildflower seeds down by the Pollinator Trail over there to try and promote native pheasant and monarch butterfly populations. The populations have really gone down, and the Pollinator coordinator, Miss Linda Moran, has developed a program to try and promote the native species here and just help promote the beauty of the Pollinator Trail. So we're going to see what it's all about. I'm here with Linda Moran, the Oakland County Pollinator Trail Manager, and she is doing something big for the community, guys. Can you tell us what that is?
We are setting up our first of what I hope to be many pollinator gardens here in the village of Oxford. We are sponsored by Pheasants Forever, Oakland County, and Monarch Watch. They are sponsoring us to put in our first garden. We have 107 fifth grade students from Clear Lake Elementary coming out today within moments to spread the seeds in our new garden. We've got quite a large spot right behind Merge, so we're going to spread our seeds, and hopefully we'll have some flowers in the next few weeks to attract some butterflies and some insects.
That's really nice. Any specific sort of insects that are native to Michigan that you hope to attract?
We are actually hoping to attract all of the native species. We are using only native seeds, so the garden should be all native grasses and plants. It's not going to be the manicured garden that you think of in your yard. This is going to be a naturalized garden, so there's going to be beauty in the imperfection of it all. So,
beauty in the messiness. Isn't that life? And it is so in nature. Thank you for talking, Miss Moran.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming out today. And stop by the garden this summer, right behind Merge and Evergreen at 33 Pleasant. It's going to be great. Everybody, thanks for coming out to the Pollinator today. We're going to plant our first ever Pollinator Garden today. So we're going to spread some seeds and hopefully we'll get some flowers. We'll have butterflies. You guys can come out here all summer and watch the flowers and watch for the butterflies and the birds, and it's going to be fabulous. So is everybody ready to help? Yay! Now,
thank you, Linda. Thank you. Hi, kids. Kids, we're from an organization called Pheasants Forever, and we're a habitat organization. And what we do is encourage people and train kids like you what wildlife habitat is all about. So we're going to talk to you a little bit here today about what it means to plant some habitat and how that benefits the wildlife, butterflies, honeybees, pheasant, and other kinds of insects and birds. Without further ado, we're going to start out, and Rob is going to talk to you about pheasants and their habitat and the predators and what pollinators are. So I'll turn it over to Rob now. Rob?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming out. My name's Rob Goodman. I'm the chapter president with our organization. And we're here in Oakland County, so we enjoy doing projects with students in the Oakland County area that benefit the local habitat, teach you guys how to do things that are a little outside the box. And one of the things that Pheasants Forever really promotes is getting young children outdoors. And we have an initiative, an outdoor initiative that gets you out into the wild, gets you out into nature, so you can experience some of God's creatures and some of nature's beauty. So one of the main things that we're going to be doing today is planting a pollinator mix food plot. And one of the things our organization does is raise money through charitable events in order to be able to do things like this. So it's important that organizations like us and each individual are environmentally conscious and, are aware of, the things that we do that influence Mother Nature every day. So we're going to put back a little bit today and put in this pollinator food plot. So we have ordered a mixture of native grasses and flowers, things that wild pheasants, of course, dearly need, but many other creatures. And we're going to talk about some of the other creatures that help in the process of pollination. Can anybody name one insect that's extremely important in the pollination process? How about you, right here? The honeybee, right? What do honeybees do in order to...
They collect the pollen from flowers and bring it back to the hive.
Outstanding. I don't know how much of that you could hear, but it's a pretty windy day. But what she said is the honeybee travels from flower to flower carrying pollen on its feet and wings, and that's how it transfers and propagates other flowers. So the honeybee is an extremely important and endangered insect. So things like putting flowers back that they can visit and pollinate to is extremely important. What food product comes from that particular insect? Honey. Natural honey, of course. Some of the other things that'll have an interest in visiting our pollinator plot will be ground squirrels, maybe squirrels, rabbits. We might have a deer come and visit. We're fairly close to downtown, so I don't know if we would get any wild pheasants in this area. But there's maybe a small chance we might see one of those today. So again, we thank you guys for coming out. And what we'd like you to do is kind of take this opportunity to have some hands-on activity and tie it in with your science curriculum. I'm assuming you guys have earth science or biology or some of those other classes. And this is a great opportunity to get outside and tie that curriculum in with an outdoor activity. So again, we thank you for the opportunity to be here, and we'll have some fun. Thanks, kids.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you. How many of you kids have seen a wild pheasant? Quite a few of you. Well, just in case, for those of you who have never seen a wild pheasant, we brought a pheasant mount. This is a rooster. Now, a rooster is very colorful. They're green in the head, and they have red around their face, and they have a big, long tail. Now, that's what an adult pheasant looks like, and they're pretty big. You can see that when they fly, well, they're a big bird. But they start out very small, and that's the reason why habitat for them is so important, because when they began, their eggs are no bigger than the size of a 50-cent piece, smaller than a golf ball. And so when they hatch out, they're little bitty chicks, and they have to find food for themselves. They're not like babies that can be fed formula and things like that. Those little chicks that are only a day old, they have to wander around in the grass and the weeds and pick up seeds off of the ground. And that's the way they survive and grow. And eventually they start growing some wings, but it takes several weeks for them to have wings to where they can fly. So what we're going to show you here at some point, we're going to show you some baby pheasant chicks. And they're little bitty guys that are just a few days or maybe a week old. So you'll see how small they are, that they eventually grow into pheasants of this size. We have a little bit more information to share with you about the monarch butterflies. So I'm going to have Debbie Jackson share with you her knowledge about monarch butterflies and how this site will be beneficial to the monarch butterflies.
Good afternoon, boys and girls. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, excellent, wonderful. I think I was exactly your age when I first found my first monarch caterpillar. I went out in the field, found some milkweed, and there's a caterpillar on it. I took it home, put it in a container, gave it milkweed leaves. A couple days later, it was a chrysalis. A week and a half later, it's a beautiful orange butterfly. This is something you can do for fun in the summer. It's the caterpillars only live 2 weeks until they transform into a chrysalis, and then you let the butterfly go when it comes. I was exactly your age. You guys are the perfect audience. Has anyone seen a monarch butterfly in the last year? Yeah, out in the fields and stuff? That's great. I'm glad to hear it. They look like this, right? Yep. I don't have any live ones today. Right now, they're coming back from Mexico. They're still on their way back in Kansas and Oklahoma and Kentucky. They haven't gotten to Michigan yet, but they're on their way. They'll be here in about 3 or 4 weeks. Y'all probably seen this stuff when you were in 1st and 2nd grade, the life cycle. We start with the butterfly. They mate and lay eggs. She puts an egg on the milkweed. The little caterpillars are tiny. They're like the size of your eyelash. And they grow up, and when they're really little, the ants out there in the wild, they eat them at nighttime. The ants crawl around the plants. They grow up, they make a pupa, and the pupa transforms into the butterfly. This whole thing is only 4 weeks. It's a whole lot easier pet than having a dog for 15 years. It's 4 weeks. These animals are not like us. They're not vertebrates. They don't have a steady body temperature like we do. Our body temperature is always 37 degrees centigrade or 98.6 Fahrenheit. These guys, their body temperature is the same as the temperature outside. So if it's cold outside, they develop slow. If it's warm, they develop fast. Just like snakes and toads, they are not mammals. Mammals and birds have a steady body temp, but not bugs. And after that, they do come out, and we have our butterfly. Yay. The reason I'm talking to you today is because the population of the butterflies, when I was your age, they were all over the place. This graph shows in the last 20 years, can you see how the population has plummeted? And this year, it's even less than this last bar. They go to Mexico, and they take a camera over the trees, and they count the number of hectares in the forest that the butterflies are sleeping in during the winter when they do their hibernation in Mexico. And part of the reason we try to track the migration, we do put a tag on the butterflies. The butterfly gets a sticker on the hind wing in August and September. Some of us that volunteer to do this, and then when the butterflies go to Mexico, sometimes they don't have enough food to live all winter and they die, and the local people will pick up the dead butterflies because I'm with Monarch Watch. We do the migration study, and we will pay the local people $5, which is about a whole 2 days' wages for the Mexican people. And they will come and sell us these tags. I got 250 in February from the local people. I gave the local people $1,200 to get tags, and we take them back to Kansas and we see the migration studies. What you can do to help is plant gardens with nectar plants. A nectar plant garden is not necessarily really messy. Everybody thinks that weeds are messy. They can be. This orange one is butterfly milkweed. The yellow ones, we just planted in the back, and these pink ones are bee balm, which the bees absolutely adore. By the way, I wanted to say something. The honeybees are so important, but so are the native bees. The little bitty bees, the little sweat bees that we see. All of these are all pollinators. So many of our plants depend on the pollinators. Without the pollinators, we lose almost all of our fruits and vegetables. Hey, you like pizza, right? Pizza sauce comes from what vegetable? Tomatoes. Tomatoes need bumblebees to pollinate because the bees' wings vibrate at 440 beats per minute, and without that bumblebee pollinating the tomatoes, you don't have pizza sauce or spaghetti sauce. Oh my God. We've got to protect the bees, and one of the things you can also do besides planting a beautiful garden with plants that can help is to not spray pesticides in your yard. I know your mom and dad want to put mosquito spray in the yard. It really doesn't work. What works is put mosquito spray on you. Mosquitoes aren't sitting in the leaves. Usually they're over in the swampland, and it's not really effective. And then in the meantime, you're killing caterpillars and bees and things that pollinate. They're so important. The lifespan of a monarch, an adult monarch, is very complicated. In the fall, they leave Michigan in August and they go all the way to Mexico and come back to Texas in March. How many months is that? August to March. 8 months, guys. And if they're even farther up in Canada, it might even be 9 months, like even farther north. However, when they come to Michigan in the summertime, the reason that they live so long is they're not having babies until they come back from Mexico and they lay eggs in Texas in the springtime. When they start breeding and laying eggs, it takes the life and energy out of them, and they only live about 6 weeks. So the ones we see in the summertime live 6 weeks, but the ones in the fall that go to Mexico live all winter. This is the longest insect life migration in the whole planet. We've got it right here. Okay, we better go get some seeds.
I'm here with Fred Dorr from Pheasants Forever. So can you tell me what your goal is from this event today?
We have these activities every year, and the idea is to acquaint children with wildlife habitat, and particularly wild pheasant habitat, because we're trying to get pheasant reestablished in Michigan as they were back 30, 40, 50 years ago. And these programs is a way to show to children that the habitat is necessary for the wild pheasant, and they also serve the purpose of monarch butterflies and other pollinating insects. And they will have a better acquaintance for wildlife and how they can become the future conservationists for wildlife, including wild pheasant.
How has the pheasant population declined, and how do you hope to increase it?
Pheasant population has declined in Michigan where the habitat has not been retained. Much of it has to do with extensive farming where fence rows and things are cleared out, and there's no longer the habitat there for wild pheasants to nest in and raise their young and be protected from predators. So we're encouraging and helping farmers and others develop that habitat again so that they can re-establish themselves as being plentiful in Michigan.
When was your company established, and how long have you been working to further the pheasant population?
The National Pheasants Forever organization was established back in the 1980s, and we have chapters in about 35 states throughout the northern Midwest, and we have chapters in Michigan, in almost every county of Michigan, and we ourselves are of course from Oakland County, and we try and focus our activities here in the county.
What do you hope to accomplish because of this?
Well, we hope these kids go away from here with a better understanding of what pheasants require as far as habitat, so as they grow up they'll understand that that's something that they can carry on as adults, maintaining successful habitat for wild pheasant population in Michigan.
What can we do as people as citizens of Oakland County who want to help?
Well, probably the best thing you can do is join in the activities that we're doing for kids and encourage them so that they not only are exposed to the activities that we do, but at home while their parents tell them about the importance of wildlife. Wild pheasant, monarch butterflies, all pollinators that help in the food chain that we all consume.
All right, thank you so much for talking to me, Fred Dorr.
You're welcome.
I'm here with Miss Debbie Jackson with Monarch Butterflies. Can you please tell me what you guys are doing here today?
Today we are working with Pheasants Forever, to put in a pollinator garden to restore habitat to the area, creating beautiful flowers and nectar sources for our bees and butterflies, and bringing us back to nature at the same time.
I heard Pheasant Forever also talking about the pheasants that are coming in and all the butterflies that you're hoping to bring in. How do you think the Pollinator Trail will benefit from having all these native species?
My goal is education, and this is a wonderful location. It's high visibility, and when the flowers start to come later, we'll have a beautiful garden. People will stop and see it. Maybe they'll take a moment, see the Monarch way station signs, And we have them as a part of Monarch Watch to showcase that this habitat is monarch butterfly friendly. Monarchs only eat milkweed. They will not eat dandelions or grass or trees, only milkweed. And we have milkweed seed in this mix, and hopefully we'll have some more butterflies of male monarchs and other types of butterflies as well.
That's excellent. I know that you were talking to the kids about this a little bit, but you were talking about the migratory patterns of the monarch butterfly. When do they typically come up to Michigan, and how long?
At this time of year, they're left Texas and the southern states. They're approaching right now southern and the top of Kansas, Missouri, the very northern end maybe of Kentucky. They still have to traverse through the states of Illinois, Ohio, and Indiana to get to Michigan. So I believe it'll be another 4 weeks. They actually don't when they leave here in August and they go to Mexico, they go right down into the forest west of Mexico City, stay there for 3 months, and they come back to the southern states, but they don't make it all the way back to Michigan. However, they mate and lay eggs in the southern states, and their babies come back. That's called the first generation. So we'll be seeing the first generation very shortly. Wow. Weeks.
That's very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing all this with us. And I want to ask, who contacted you? Was it Miss Moran that thought of it, or that got Pheasant Forever and Monarch Butterflies together?
Yes, it was Miss Linda Moran. I had worked with Fred Dorr recently, and I believe he probably suggested that I come and help bring some PR and some education to the children, get them interested more in the outdoors, and that we worked as a network together.
Thank you.
But Fred really did all this planning. He's incredible.
Where is your outpost? I know it's a national organization. Where are you located?
Monarch Watch headquarters is at the University of Kansas, Lawrence, Kansas. That's not far from Kansas City, Kansas, and the butterflies are coming to that region right now as we speak. The director, Dr. Chip Taylor, has set up Monarch Watch in 1992, so we're 25 years old. Wow. 6 years old now, yes.
And do you guys do stuff like this around the nation, or what kind of stuff do you guys do?
We are interested in conserving the species. The population has really gone down from when I was a child. We used to see them as commonly as we see the white cabbage butterflies now. Hardly nowadays do you ever see a monarch. We're trying to bring the population back, study the trends that have caused the population crash. We're about 5%, maybe 10% of what the population should be. And education, conservatorship is a main goal. Right now, Chip Taylor is working with 19 indigenous tribes in Oklahoma to replant lots of native reservation lands with plants to support the monarchs and pollinators as well, and other wildlife species, the quail and other animals. And I think it's astounding to get 19 different tribes to work together, because sometimes it's not so easy to get along with your neighbors. And he's been able to, but they're all very on board with restoring habitat for the butterflies and other things as well.
How do you hope to raise the population of monarch butterflies?
Get everyone to plant milkweed, and not just common milkweed. Common milkweed is a plant that can spread and take over, but we have lots of great milkweeds. Swamp milkweed is my absolute favorite. It doesn't spread like common milkweed. It has a small root base. You can dig it up and transplant it. It likes wet feet, so it grows great in the damp areas in the ditches, but also grows great in a garden just like this. Poke milkweed is a woodland milkweed. It grows very slowly. It doesn't spread hardly at all, and my caterpillars love it. Butterfly milkweed is an orange flower, and that's in the milkweed family as well. And the butterflies use the flowers, the caterpillars eat the leaves. So there's many different types of milkweed. I just suggest that when you get milkweed, if you go to the local nurseries, try to make sure that it's not been treated with pesticides. Milkweed is very, very attractive to aphids, and a lot of garden groups put pesticide to keep the aphids down, but if you put a pesticide on the milkweed, the caterpillars will die if they eat it. And that's kind of not what we're looking forward to.
So you can find milkweed at your local nurseries?
You may be able to get the seed online. Prairie Moon Nursery is a native plant nursery. You can get seed from there. Ion Nursery, Ion Exchange Nurseries. You may be able to... Barson's Greenhouse in Canton, Weingert's Gardens has milkweed. That's very good for the monarchs and other pollinators as well. And you'll be able to get up other native nectar plants. It's not just milkweed. We can get bee balm, sunflowers. There's coneflowers. All of these are fabulous nectars for the bees and the butterflies.
Thank you so much, Miss Debbie. It was fantastic talking to you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Go butterflies.
I'm here with Alex, who's a student, and he helped plant the wildflower seeds. So, Alex, what was your favorite part of today's event?
Probably spreading the hay around.
What was fun about it?
It just flying everywhere.
Yeah, it's been pretty windy today. Did you get to see the baby pheasants?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. They were pretty cute, right?
Yeah. A lot of people got to hold them.
Did you get to hold them?
I held a couple of them. Yeah.
And what do you think about bringing in all the native species here? What do you think? This is pretty important, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
All right, thanks so much for talking to me, Alex. We're back again with Miss Linda Moran, and I just wanted to ask you about how you came up with the idea to promote native species in Oxford.
Well, I've always been interested in native species, and I'm an organic gardener and a beekeeper, so it kind of comes naturally to me. And Miss Erin, who lives behind our garden presently, works for Oakland County, and she originally started the butterfly garden some years ago, but it kind of fell apart. So I met Mr. Fred Dorr at a TWILA meeting, which is a Trails Water Lake Alliance, and he offered to sponsor our garden. And I said, have I got a place for you? So hopefully this is the first of many gardens we'll have along the trail. I'm hoping to have a few along the trail in each of the counties the trail runs through. But we figured we'd start here. It's the heaviest traveled part of the trail. We have a lot of, travelers on the asphalt all seasons, and we have parking lots, so I thought it would be a very visual spot to get people interested in what we're trying to do out here. So, and we'll have the goats coming back this season, the second 2 weeks in June. So they'll continue the fight on the invasive species. And, we're just kind of keeping it rolling. No chemicals, I hope. Not to say we're not ever, but hopefully we can reduce the amount of chemicals and help our native populations come back.
That'd make the Pollyann Trail even more beautiful than it already naturally is.
I hope so. That's the plan. And we're going to have some picnic tables out here, and we've got a water fountain going in on Clarkston Road. We're just working through our permit situation down there, and we're just making it shine. We have a new observation dock that's been donated and built by the Oxford Parks and Rec. Those guys are fabulous. So come on out to the Pollyann Trail this summer and see all the wonderful stuff we've got going.
Well, there it is, guys. I mean, the Pollyann Trail is doing fantastic, and we've got wildflowers out there now. So
Everywhere. With the wind, we have them everywhere.
right, the wind all over the place. My hair is everywhere. So I hope you guys have all had a great time. Thank you for watching. That's a wrap from the location on the Pollyann Trail. We planted a lot of flowers, had some fun. Back to you, Bill.
Great story, Rachel. Well, that's all the time for this week. We hope you enjoyed our program. So, for our reporter, Rachel Baker, and photographer, Russell Currier, and for our producer and editor, Terry Stiles, I'm Bill Service. And you have a great, great week.